ironic. We were talking about Nike International is and how is Asami gonna rule over that, and in the end, we finally got to see the head of Nike International. But we are also ending this chapter with a very great despair, and I'm gonna have some very mouthful of talking to you on what I believe is gonna happen. For those who are watching, hi, it's me, the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer, to bring you chapter 185 from the Shokugeki no Soma. First of all, a pretty sweet cover. It's almost with Hayama looking a bit adorable before he got more darker than before, meaning that the white coat team of Alice, Kurokiba, and Hayama could have actually been good friends. And the chapter starts with, strangely enough, Soma talking to Alice. What I mean, strangely enough, well, I didn't know he had her number. Seems they really have become good friends. Of course, she's not happy with all this, but she also reveals that Kurokiba and her are soon gonna enter their matches. But there was so very sweet is the way that she wants them that everyone to pass. Yes, she says everyone to pass, and they all give Hayama a mouthful. And even though Soma is not pumped, Kuga is the more relaxed. Sorry, slur my word. I want to say rational, but I don't believe in this anyway. Something about there are your opponents, the Elite 10, are people that you honestly probably cannot beat. And here we have the first theory. Speaking logically, no, they cannot beat. But speaking of another way, that a few people don't realize is stars exist, but every star eventually falls. Although that technically is most only seen with acting. I mean, some actors are very big, and then suddenly, boom, do that. In a way, I consider characters voicing anime pretty much the same. If you think about it, mostly when an anime is released, there's always that type of character who voices most one at that time, and then suddenly nothing. But we should not talk about that. We're talking about this in this situation. Elite 10 is really that powerful. So, can they beat all? I want them to beat all. Why? Because you you have to make sure like that. Not only because of the characters that we like, but also because, as I said before, the Elite 10 are strong, but they are also a generation that needs to be defeated in order for this manga to show the rest of the pages in the manga that we are entering a new era. But who knows? So they're entering the place. It turns out, well, it doesn't really look that stylish as it did before. We're introduced to the judges. First, two girls that, if you ask me, the first time I saw them, I actually thought they were related to Alice because, well, they look pretty much similar to Alice, but they're not related to Alice, but they are subordinates of Alice's mother. They are, if I got understood right, twins, Sheila and Bertha, some 15-year-old little girls that seems to be looking for hot guys and a little bit of a mouthful. They even tease Kuga about being short when technically they are shorter than him. Yeah, they have even the same face structure as Alice's mom and Alice has. And so we're finally introduced to the one who founded Totsuki's research division, Nike International. The one a lot of people actually suspect Hayama should be working for when he loses the Shokugeki, because we all know he is gonna lose the Shokugeki. Although he leaves management to the organization to Leonora. And that is Nike So, the Nike International founder and the only son of Sai Simon, because we know for a fact that he had a daughter which Asami somehow managed to marry. and we don't know what happened to that daughter, but I have a feeling Asami must have been a pretty bad husband. So yeah, and it turns out that these 15-year-old girls are part of an international research staff. So I guess they're child prodigies. A little bit mouthful of kids, but who knows? So this is So Dono, and well, the first thing we can notice about him that he has very huge eyebrows. When I look at Alice, she doesn't really seem to have that huge eyebrows. So yeah, and as I said before, Sheila and Berta get into arguments with Kuga, but they are both a little bit worried about these judges doesn't see fair. But Dojima, who is here, saying they are all very pick fair. In fact, even So himself says, "I'm a judge. I swear to be absolutely fair. Even if this match were to feature my daughter Alice herself, I would still fair and equal, even if it meant Alice had to suffer defeat." After all, every single Nike so far has a very strict policy when it comes to food, but righteousness. And as soon as he says that, he takes out a picture of his daughter Alice. Actually, the same picture of when she got the highest score in that curry competition, and blushes and say, "Win or lose, Alice is still the cutest girl in the world." Yeah, I have to admit that was actually a pretty big mood whiplash. From being very serious and strict, he just subtly says, "She is the cutest one," and then she also says the cutest daughter. And so he presents a rich and shining bear meat, and the cooking begins. And Hayama is going through for a fried food, a the a fried chicken like bear. Maybe we can a bear fried chicken version with no defense. They describe that as the a food that is having no defense at all, going straight for the attack. And it turns out that, well, Soma is also going for that, a fried dish. I guess that once again shows that badass minds think alike, right? Because he was doing the exact same in the curry too. This is an ultimate fight, almost like a Muay Thai. No, Muay Thai was more of with legs. Should we call this boxing? No, I think we can call it something else. No intention of guarding, a close combat. And the chapter ends with full despair as we see Rindo and Tadokoro Megumi and Takumi sitting on the wall. Where the and despair. Well, for the one of the fewest time we see once again Rindo's fangs. When we see her fangs, Rindo can actually become pretty scary. Otherwise, she looks very adorable, but when she shows her four cat fangs, she can actually be pretty scary. And what is she saying? Well, she's saying, "After all, you two are going up against me, your favorite Rindo senpai." And here is the despair and the true question. What the hell? Are you telling me those two are gonna have a match against one Rindo? It's almost like you're trying to tell us they cannot win. Why? Because, well, how does that make sense? I thought there was one Elite 10 for each, but no, it seems to imply that some will be mashed together and have one battle against Elite 10. It's almost like you are mocking Megumi for the last time. I sincerely do not like that. Megumi could have been more than capable of cooking herself. I don't care what you say, I believe in her. But Rindo, after all, she is the one all reviewers wants to have the most mystery about. Who is she? What is she? And how strong is her cooking? I guess this shows just how strong she is. She's so strong that two rebels have to cook against her, although it's not exactly that they choose to go all out against her. It's more like she picked them to cook against her. So yeah. On to the battle. What is gonna happen now? Who knows? It's obvious Soma's gonna win because, well, he just has to win. This Rindo situation, though, that's another story. As Kuga said, it should be rational thinking that all of the rebels can pass. But as I say, the old generation needs to die and be replaced with a new one, and I sincerely believe the rebels are those. But now, facing off against Rindo, I was thinking that we're gonna face against Tsukasa and defeat him because, well, I don't care how much of a genius he is, he's gonna lose one day. And Rindo, we haven't seen her cooking, and when we haven't seen someone's cooking, technically they should win in order for us to get the Wurf effect. So, what can we expect of all this? Let's go with a quick theory. If Takumi and Megami were to lose, what will happen? I think that would be the first sign that this storm is much, much more serious than we had to believe. For the first time, we have to say goodbye to two very important characters. And I think that will put the change the manga forever. And if you ask me, that will make me very uncomfortable in reading it. You even gave image songs to these characters. This is not some kind of death killing off manga. They cannot disappear that easily. But if they were to win, however, that would prove my point. The new generation is that strong. But it's too early to tell, isn't it? At least finally we get to see Megami again. Although I didn't want to see her in this condition. Anyway, what will happen? Give me your thoughts if you have any.